How's it going, YouTube? Durian here, and just wanted to do a final little update and a little meta breakdown for the end of this Albert Wesker season to help you guys who are still trying to push up the ranks. So for me, I am currently at around 420-ish, give or take. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna camp there. I'm busy this weekend, and we'll just see where we end up. Fingers crossed, we're above 500. I did those Nero videos that you saw this week. Those were recorded like a week or two ago, and so I'm off Nero. I could not. I peaked. You know, I made that peak. What was it like? It was really close. It was really close to top 500, and then I crashed and burned all the way down to like 1600 points. And then I tried Denjin Renki for a bit just to have some fun. I've switched back to my Akuma for a little bit, and then I went back to Denjin Renki when I saw another build by Chris D playing, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then went back to Akuma and kind of flip-flopped between Denjin and Akuma Raging Demon. And then I ended up just sticking with a very similar list, just some slight tweaks to my Akuma deck from last season that we got to 511 with after our slow dribble. So hopefully we'll do the same thing again, and but we won't dribble as far, and we'll stay in the top 500. And then I'll make a video about that kind of again. I'll talk a little bit why I changed the build up, and this time I'm gonna make it a little different about what we're gonna do, specific matchup thoughts, and like what I think going into certain matchups and what I'm mulligan for. Hopefully makes that a little bit more interesting and different. So enough blabber. Let's get to what you're here for. It's the meta snapshot. So I wasn't sure about making this video just because I didn't know how much I had to talk about it, but basically I've been collecting the viewer battles for the last like 9-ish days, and I compiled them all and just made some stats about hero usage just so you could give them all. I want to do card usage eventually, but that is a little too manual right now, so I need to whip something up. I need to code something up that will let me do that not manually. But let me know if you like this kind of thing, and I'm happy to do it more, especially at this like lower level. It's not too bad. But yeah, here we go into that little meta analysis. All right, so here is the data from the Albert Wesker season. I got about 89 decks out from the the featured matches, and then I did a little pie chart, make it easy. So green, surprise, is dominating. So the thing to remember when we're talking about this is the assumption is that this snippet of the community represents a greater trend throughout the game. And it is I mean, this is no surprise. Green Yan is just like the best deck by, you know, arguably a long shot. It's just so good. It's easy to use. It's easy to pick up. Like it's got everything going for it for everyone to start playing it. So that's not expected. Green's taking up a huge chunk. Followed closely, well, not closely at all, but the next one is black, and then red and purple are taking up a similar share of the meta. But black is like twice as much represented for them. So for those of you who are still finishing up your meta grind, you have to be able to play against Yan. That either means you're playing Yan with some text for the mirror, or you're playing another deck you feel has a really good Yan matchup, and because you have to, like, just it's such a huge chunk of what you're probably gonna play against. But it's also weird because there's a bunch of random stuff playing around that you can also go against, but just remember, huge majority of people are playing Yan. Okay, so that being said, let's go into a little bit of a hero breakdown. So of course the vast majority of the Yan decks, of the green decks, are Chun-Li. 75% of the whole, you know, overarching meta that we could get a glimpse of is Chun-Li. And then the last little bit of it is made up with a tiny bit of Nero and a tiny bit of X. There's actually more Nero than I expected. 3 out of the 89 decks, it should be 90, but I somehow missed one. But anyway, 3 out of those decks, out of those 90 decks, were actually narrow decks. It's kind of surprising. It's very similar to the Chun-Li deck, but you just have the Hey Nico. You guys can see pretty much all the narrow players are playing Hey Nico, all the X players are playing Heart Tank. So for black, it is dominantly Wesker with a tiny bit of Akuma and a tiny bit of Nergigante. Boom, 1% each. So Akuma was a mono black Ashura Senku that I saw. There's also that red, the purple black one running around every once in a while, but it's really like kind of inconsequential. The main thing is Ouroboros Wesker seems to be like one of the only other decks that people are playing to kind of compete with Chun-Li, and it's not even guaranteed. So yeah, Chun-Li's an absolute monster. And then of course red and purple had the same share of the meta, and they're both just being completely taken up by Jill and Morgan. Now this wasn't representative of the climb that I had. Most of the red decks I played against, I think it was a 50-50 split between Ryu and Jill. I think there's just a lot of decks floating around there, but like I think I saw an equal amount of Ryu and Jill. Both of them have a really hard time against green because like you play Huitzel and then you have to get rid of the shield, and then you have to do 8 damage to it. So you have to get rid of the shield, you have to do 1 damage to it, and then you can Shinku Hadoken it. So that's a nightmare. Everything has shield, so it's just a nightmare for red in general right now. And then the Morgan, this is split even more. You can see there's 2 Morgans here. There were 2 Shadow Blades and 2 big Rezo. So, you know, I face more Shadow Blade. I think there's a deck. There's something to be said about the decks that use Surge of Demonic Power and Soul's Return to like send things back. So kind of try to nullify the Chun-Li's mana advantage that way. And then of course you just try to cheese people with Temptation Big Resonate on the flip side of that. So for you guys who aren't unfamiliar with Big Resonate, it's basically you just play 1 unit with Resonate and then you just spam halts and stuff so your opponent can't do anything about it, and negates and all that good stuff till your opponent's dead. Crossing fingers. But it's a little bit harder with Huitzel having the anti-air and the stealth nerf. So yeah. That's basically it. That's the short little quick and easy meta breakdown. I ignored these Chun-Li Kikosho decks. You can see I call them jank. That was because they're just all actions, and like they're clearly built, like somehow 2 of them matched up against each other, and they were clearly built to just like Chun-Li play 20 green actions or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's a newer player. I don't know why those got in there, but they were jank builds. So hopefully I can do a more in-depth one with cards in the near future. Let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing this like on a weekly basis, or just a monthly basis, or every 2 weeks, or you know, what do you guys think? I would love to know in the comments. I'll probably stick to like monthly, just kind of like the last month, see how things have settled out, or the last week of the season, see how things have settled out, what you should be aware of. And then that would give me some time to try to whip up something to get card breakdowns, which I think would be super cool. Be like, how many of these decks, you know, what's a percentage of decks that are running like Huitzels at whatever number, you know what I mean? Like that's really interesting stuff. So that's gonna be kind of my plan. And thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great end of season grind while I chillax and enjoy the slow drip of my ranked points, my ranked place. All right, so as we always do here, keep on learning, keep on having fun. Watch out for those Chun-Li. They're all yawn. They're all just blasting you with MP, so keep that in mind. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all in another video. Peace.